Hey folks, I'm Serious JG, and welcome to a new Let's Play series where right off the jump I might not even be saying the name correctly. But finished I'm just looking for something to finish so I could start something new. So this'll kind of sort of take the place of Death Stranding. I don't know if it's going to have any similarities to that game. But yeah, this planning to upload 2 videos a week for the foreseeable future. That might change. Could be more, could be less. Of a game that I just kind of found out about randomly. Normally, I'm not crazy about Amazon and these other, things tracking your purchases and sending you recommendations. But to be honest, I reached a point where it was time to start putting together an Amazon Christmas list, and I only had a few games I was interested in. I like to have a couple of games so that I can have some surprise with what's bought for me at Christmas and have a couple of things that people can buy that will be fun. And it's never a huge deal if I don't get the games I asked for Christmas. But while looking at stuff like Ghosts of Tsushima, which I did end up getting for Christmas, and I had some Yakuza stuff that I got for Christmas, like the recommended similar, I was looking for similar games to games I liked that I hadn't already heard of, and some popped up which I read about and it sounded quite interesting to me. So we'll see whether it turns out to be um, a bust or a slash for you Samurai Showdown 3 fans. But I want to try a game called Xuan Yuan Sword 7. I could have had like an article open in front of me. I did some reading, so I don't even remember the name of the studio that made it. It'll come up in the credits, but this was made by a studio in Taiwan. So do I feel like jumping into the controversy surrounding Taiwan, where like you have multi-million dollar sports leagues studiously avoiding the topic. You have pro wrestlers who learned Chinese so they can promote their movies in Chinese, then apologizing in Chinese for accidentally implying that Taiwan is not part of the People's Republic of China. I don't feel like stepping into that, but it is interesting. It's basically a Taiwanese game about Chinese history, and the Juan Yuan series has been compared to like it's China's answer to the Final Fantasy series. Some people have said. Um, then again, some people just can only think in terms of this is the blank version of this other thing, and maybe that won't be accurate at all. But I'm quite interested in it. I have heard that you don't need any knowledge of the other Xuan Yuan games to play it. It is the first one that's been released in English, as far as I know. Um, and I heard it's not hugely long for an action RPG. But I thought it would be interesting, and I hope you're interested too. So let me just stop yammering for now and get into Xuan Yuan Sword 7. Oh, and close Neo 2 because I had Neo 2 open. When I installed it, I played around with this for a little bit. I actually saved some data. I fought a couple of very early battles. I'm not sure that I'm going to bother trying to find a place where we can load that. I think I'm just going to start from scratch because I didn't really do a whole lot with this game. I installed it, and the thing is, I did start playing it, but then I installed one of my other Christmas gift games, and I spent a lot more time playing that, so I really don't remember anything about the controls for this game because I spent hours and hours playing one of my other Christmas gifts, whereas this I set aside knowing that I was going to want to start Let's Playing it immediately. So we did get the studio name there, plus some other credits. But Playarium had something to do with this game. Juan Yuan 7. New feature, Zhao Lu Chess. Use your best strategy. Beat the opponents in chess. New feature, Arena of Legacy. Defeat the monster in the arena. Set the best record. I don't know why I have new features here particularly, but... So yeah, the thing about... I'm used to playing games about China, but they're usually by Koei, Tecmo Koei, Wo Megaforce. Occasionally they're by some other studios. I even like kind of played like, I know Grimmeth's put a lot of time into I don't remember what it's called. It's something or the Three Kingdoms, but the was it Warlords Three Kingdoms, Total War Three Kingdoms. Yeah, Total War Three Kingdoms. Yeah, there's lots of interesting games about China. Because if you're interested in, not necessarily, you don't have to be interested in China, but it's like an interesting action game set in a place other than the West. But I've never played a game actually produced by Chinese people about Xuan Yuan, so I'm interested to see what a gaming studio from Taiwan can do with the subject. So let's jump in. Starting difficulty, easy. Enjoy the story with a more casual approach to combat. Normal, a balanced experience for a well-rounded playstyle. That's what I'll always play the default on these games. Hard, the path of ambition, danger, and glory. Nightmare, for those who seek more challenge and excitement. Can't change difficulty in game. I'm not sure what the point of that is. I mean, I can know how, like, if there's a special achievement to be gotten for playing the entire game, like, or you could say we start with survive mode or rogue. Like, if you die permanently. There's no saves are only there so you can take a break from the game. You can't save and then load if you die, like hardcore mode. Like, I get that being you can't switch out once you start, but if it's just a night, whatever, it's just a difficulty setting. All right, normal. Carriages. As a means of transportation, carriages come in different sizes depending on the owner's class. Scholars summoned by the Emperor have state-appointed carriages to transport them during their stay in the capital, considered the earliest bus in history. Moa studies geometry. The concept of end, line, area, and acupoint existed in the Moism culture, classic Mojing, and they're moving it faster than I can read it. Can I get back to it? No, there's too many things. Have to get back to carriage and then go down one, but wow, there's a lot of. So I don't know how much of this is real Chinese history and how much of this is kind of fantasy Chinese history. The game is sort of a mix. But apparently there's a lot of things you can read about during the loading screens. So I just completely missed the date, but it's ancient times. And there's English subtitles, there are no options for English dialogue or voice acting. I did check. And this is really cool for someone like me. The voice acting of the game set in China is in Chinese. So we can move the camera, we can move the character, but not until after we've pressed X to confirm. So our new quest is Unwelcome Guest. We acquired the Zhu Yuan. Man, these things move fast. Okay, I take it I'm not supposed to be able to read all that. Check outside the house. Okay, well, whoever this guest is, we know they're unwelcome. By the way, I have no ability to jump or run or anything like that right now. I'm just navigating around in a space. It just popped into my head. This is a fantasy game which Ald, who has a tendency to... We have a lot of overlap, me and Ald Dragon, in the games that we've played, because he does a lot of the old console. He's getting into... I guess he probably was into and hadn't been Let's Playing old console JRPGs that were like what I was doing in my channel when I kind of got started. I outgrew them long ago, but they're still okay for Ald. I'm kidding. I have this notion he might be watching. So hi, Ald, because this is a kind of a weird. Yeah, it's a fantasy game. I'm so excited! It's a fantasy game set in China that's actually made by the Chinese rather than being a Japanese game about China. So I guess I was supposed to come over here and open this door. Objective updated. Now I have to eliminate monsters. R1 to perform light attack. Triangle, use an item. Press X, and I didn't even see. X is a backslide. So, I don't anticipate lots of problems with normal monsters. I've been playing a lot of Neo 2, which I think is just the combat is a lot less forgiving in Neo than it's going to be in this game. Huh. By hitting that rock against that other rock in the vague area of this thing, I have lit a fire. And now he's having memories. Flashback to when his mom used to boil water when he was a little boy. Han Dynasty, first year of Chu Shi, 8 AD. I'm confused. So the Han, I thought the Han fell in. I thought RTK was set in like 200 something BC. Maybe it's 200 AD. That might be. I might be confused. I know it's like way back. But the Han Dynasty is falling. But then again, I think there was more than one Han Dynasty too. Anyway, this girl has a very fancy kite. And she's getting some real hang time out of it. I don't see any way in which she controls its flight, though. Basically, she's got an ancient Chinese drone. So she's going to be attacking a Afghan wedding here. Neighbors at Jiyin. Oh, we are flashing back to him as a little boy. Okay. I don't know. I'm acting like I didn't. I played this far after installing it. So it's not like I'm trying to pretend I don't know that this was coming, but at the same time, I thought we did a little more before he flashed back. I should something, she says. So this game... Did you notice the number of customers has dwindled lately? This game will feature quite a bit of NPCs that you can't actually talk to, and what they say isn't actually important, but they're like... I don't object to this approach. I've seen it in a few, like, the more modern 3D RPGs, where rather than you being compelled to go talk to people and getting all this meaningless dialogue, it pops up on its own. Just like you would hear people, like people would be talking to each other and not to you. Never mind, I was about to start a whole diatribe, but I haven't decided if I'm going to voice act this either. Because they're kind of not pausing. I guess I'm not going to voice act this. So high, dude. What do you want to bet? Because I haven't played far enough to know this. What do you want to bet that eventually we reach a point in the story where we meet her and she's smoking fucking hot? I mean, come on. She may or may not be our love interest, but you know that the little girl that we met in the bright red dress in the flashback is going to be like super hottie in once we jump forward a bit. Thing is, at some point I was going to play one of the non-English voice acting Yakuza games, that I was going to voice act some of that, because that game has lots of non-voice acted dialogue between voice acted dialogue. We'll see about how this game handles it. Maybe they're loading a lot of voice acting up front, but later on we're going to have lots of non-voice acted text. So she got this thing stuck in the tree, and then she was like, "Hey, what are you doing? You're crazy. Don't do that. Don't risk it." I mean, she's gonna take the kite now that you got it down, right? Oh, you folded it up. Okay. Non sequitur theater there. You mean a gift that I'm going to take credit for, right? Wow, is she like some kind of crazy inventor or something? If you're not reading along, like this little girl apparently handmade a toy, which looks like some kind of robot. Ancient Chinese robot, huh? Why does she keep calling him kiddo? I guess she could be older. Girls tend to mature faster than boys. Like, they have their first, like, growth spurts earlier in life. But they're at an age where if he's significantly taller than her, I would think she's younger. Her clockwork kite got stuck. Yeah, apparently she's got, like, some kind of crazy, like, genius washu inventor. Your Shijiang made that especially for you. You would fix it about Grandpa. Oh. So they're still having dialogue, but, I can't possibly catch up with them because I don't have any kind of dash command. Nothing there. What's there? The darkest gift for the darkest of all bass players. Nothing. Okay. Pack these up and we're ready to go. Let me see. We have a peaceful village dialogue here. It's gonna take a while to move all of these. So if this is this is like a couple years AD. Yeah, so basically this is happening during like the equivalent of Roman times. For those of you who judge history based on what white people were doing, shame on you. But yeah, like this is going on roughly around the time of the Roman Empire, I guess. The Roman Empire was around for a while, of course. But yeah, I think maybe Three Kingdoms is set after. This is the empire that fell, and then Three Kingdoms happened. Unless that was there's a later Han Empire that this is, and I'm confused about timing. I thought Three Kingdoms was like way earlier. I thought it was like a couple hundred years BC.
阿福叔，
公子，您回来了。
Hey, Uncle Fu.
阿
What
福
up,
叔
young master?，
还是叫我赵二就行了。
你可真是。哎，对了，夫人她在找您呢，您还是快些到书房去。
Apparently, Uncle Fu is of a lower social class than you because he feels like he needs to call you young master. And if you've been following my previous Yakuza Like a Dragon Let's Play, don't trust people called young master. Doesn't work out. Chuckle, chuckle, chuckle. Press circle to talk to people nearby, but only... Not these people, though. I mean, don't talk to the proletariat. And only people with these icons over their heads.
公子，怎么了？可别让夫人等
What's
太
wrong,
久
young
了。
master? Are you going to... I was about to start making jokes that would just spoil Like a Dragon for you. Ask about guests.
阿
Let's
福
see
叔
here.，
是有贵客来家里了。
I don't believe I have any option to do anything with these subtitles to make
是宫
them
里请来
easier
人
to
来
read.
了。
The text is tiny and it disappears in half of the backgrounds. This is... I do not approve. They did not do a particularly good job with the subtitles.
阿福叔，这礼品都是些什么呀？
这些呀，可是来自西域的奇珍异宝，可得小心。
Treasures
坏
from
就
the
糟
western
糕了。
regions. I would imagine they mean, Western China. And not like we got treasures from the west. Yeah, like I got a bunch of porno mags with blonde girls in them. Because what else could I possibly think of when they say treasures from the west? You know what, I'm going to go all the way in the wrong direction. I guess I was just curious how far I could backtrack. But I'm pretty sure there's no point to it. And this is frustrating often the case in these flashback scenes. You move around super slow. Like, I'm sure that when we get into real gameplay, we'll move faster than this. Because otherwise the game would be kind of unbearable. It's a blessing that Lord Li got a newborn baby. That's true. Master Li's newborn baby is a monster. That's false. I've heard that he adopted a child a few years ago, and it seems shush. Oh! See, it does help to listen to these guys. This would probably be revealed elsewhere at another time, but I believe what we are learning now is that we have a younger sibling who is the natural-born child of our parents. We are adopted. I did not already know that. I played like a good 30 minutes or more of this game before deciding, what am I doing? Set it down. So I have a little bit of foreknowledge, but I didn't get this dialogue. Master Li is about right this time. You said it. You said it. That voice. Where have I heard that voice? Like soft Chinese background singing. Is the way things are going, I'll take all the help I can get. And she looked with me with those big brown eyes and said, you ain't seen nothing yet. Yep, since that cur usurped the throne. Shh, you don't know who's listening. Uh-oh. Okay, so there's an evil usurper. It appears that some of these people here don't approve. But overall, we just got Happy Land music. The pomp today was almost as gaudy as a wedding. Indeed, it's only appropriate for a God-given child at such an old age. Must be blessed she is. Okay, so apparently our mom's old. These guys are not being delicate about it. Well, I mean, it's a flashback about our mom that we had while alone in the woods, so I'm sure we'll be spending a lot of time with our mom, and it'll all be very positive and good, and nothing bad is going to happen. So let's get that going
阿
here.
嬷，
昭儿，你先照看香儿一会儿。
She doesn't look that
那
old.
您呢？
今
These
天
aren't
会
like
客云集，
the most
你丫负责忙
photorealistic
着
graphics ever, but
我还得去盯着厨
she
房
looks like a
才行
reasonably
免
attractive
得怠
middle-aged
慢
woman.
阿嬷，您辛苦了。
香儿就交给你了。
Shut up, kid. So she's our adopted. So we're adopted, and she's their biological child, and is our little sister, I think. So we've been asked to. Oh, and now I don't control the camera anymore, and I can no longer turn around. That's weird. I guess that with the baby, they're not going to give me a lot of freedom of motion. Well, now I suddenly... Oh, until like once I get in this room, I'm allowed to move. You might prove an advantage against Wang Mang. Okay. So, I don't know any detail about Wang Mang and the usurpation, but I'm dimly aware that that's a thing, because yeah, that, like, characters in Three Kingdoms, like, it doesn't come up playing the video games, but if you actually read the Three Kingdoms novel, like, yeah, Wang Mang is a famous usurper and kind of a villain. So, like, people will, well, when insulting Cao Cao, they'll refer to him as like a modern day, you know, Wang Mang. So, I think this game is set before Three Kingdoms. I'm sure this fascinates you. Let's move on with the game. Elysium Relevature. I bet there's magic and what's going on. There's... So our dad is like looking at some kind of magical spell that's something to do with... Okay, I think that dialogue is dried up. Somebody seemed to panickingly say, "My lord, my lord!" So let's get our sister to bed. This bed is a little big for her or for us, either one. So let's just put her all the way on one edge of it. Don't use any more of the bed than is necessary. Not that she really has the ability to roll out of it.
香儿，你醒啦？今天乖吗？
I'm afraid to pause. Scroll, toy. Maybe I can pause now. Let's start with scroll. I started with toy, and I didn't get to do scroll, so it might be I want to start with scroll. But toy would be we show her that weird toy that our lady friend made. We got a couple of minutes left here. What was I going to say? Yeah, cute story about my nephew. I guess it's my two nephews, and they both have like approved names. I'm allowed to refer to them by on YouTube. So Bronco, who is 2, turning 3 in a couple of days, has a little brother, BB, who is now like, what is he, like a couple of months old. And this had, like, this is a while ago this happened. I was told Bronco went up to Bobo at one point and said, you know, "Dad, BB's crying." He didn't call him BB, of course. He called him by his actual name. And Bobo said, "Why is he crying?" And Bronco says, "I poked him." So basically, the little 2-year-old, like, has an infant brother, like, in swaddling, like, type clothes, almost, and is, like, is just kind of checking him out, curious about the little guy, and just like starts poking him until he cries, and then runs to report to somebody. He's crying. Very, very cute. But it's also kind of fun recently while I'm thinking about it. I was talking to Bronco about what his name is, and he told me his full name, his first name and his last name. And I said, "And what's your brother's name?" And he gave me his brother's first name only. So let's just say it's BB, even though it's not. And I was like, "Don't you mean BB?" And then I put in his last name. And Bronco says, "No, just BB." So he doesn't really understand that his other family members have his last name. He just knows what his full name is. And it's Mom, Dad, Bronco, his actual, like Bronco Vulture, and then BB, but not BB Vulture. All right, let's show this baby the scroll. Or listen in to this discussion of the scroll. No, we're going to show
阿
the
兄
scroll.
今天又带回了不少书卷呢。希望以后我也能像阿父一样博学，才不会辱了阿父名声。
That's not really of great interest to the baby. I would have gone with a toy. Now, do I have that option? Nope, I had to pick one. So, if you show your sister the toy, you just talk about how this toy was made for her by this friend of yours, and the baby kind of laughs and smiles. But, keep shining your steadfast gleam. Bless each day, each step, and each dream. It's nice. But yeah, we don't really get to, I guess, to see both of those options. So this is one of those, it's like Final Fantasy X-2. You must play through this game multiple times to see all of the content. You can either show your baby sister a scroll or a toy. But there might be more important things for you to be focused on right now.
阿母，
周儿，来这站好。
Is that your dad? At least we get to meet him.
外头。
待会儿你就带着香儿赶快离开家，不要再回来了，走得越远越好。
Is my makeup okay?
可是，
Yeah, the face models aren't the best. Like, we're not getting a lot of emotion out of these faces. The eyes are okay, but it's like the only part that they did anything well with. It's reminding me of the parodies I saw of Mass Effect Andromeda Faces. I didn't really notice the Mass Effect Andromeda Faces being that bad, but you now own your sister. Just be advised.
快去吧。
I told you to get out of here. What are you waiting for? You're like 4. You must be prepared for this.
此乃朝廷命官府邸，竟敢擅闯！
Yeah, so they mentioned Wang Mang the Usurper. Maybe I'm overthinking this, but I'm guessing they just kind of quick set up that there's a bad guy because we're fairly immediately going to have our parents murdered by the bad guy. If you already know the game and you're scoffing at me because, you know, much later in the game it's revealed they survived and we meet them later, that's fine. As far as I'm concerned, well, she got knocked over. I don't know that it's looking very good for her. Well, I don't think we're meeting Mom again later. And then your dad is like, ridiculous! How dare you murder the wife of an Imperial officer? With exactly the same anger he had about them breaking into the house. Well, anyway, folks, that's episode 1 of, probably pronouncing this wrong, Xuan Yuan Sword 7, or Xuan Yuan... Is it Xuan Yuan 7 or Xuan Yuan Sword 7? Because Xuan Yuan Sword is a part of the story, I think. At any rate, ooh, it looks like eventually we're going to have Elysium rifts and companion skills and imprison. I'm looking forward to being able to imprison people. Sorry. Yeah, but none of that's going to happen until we get out of this flashback about us as a little kid watching our parents get murdered by evil soldiers. So when we come back next time, let's see if we can escape with our sister. I suppose there's some tension about whether we get out alive with our sister, but we can be fairly sure that we'll be getting out, because otherwise we can't light a fire under a kettle and start flashing back in the future. But what will our future hold? Will we avenge the deaths of our parents? We got a whole game to figure it out, and I hope